everyone who is coming back. Thank you, Steve. Sorry about that. Instagram decided to be funny with us today, but we're having an amazing conversation, trying to understand basically like everything around your journey and how you've managed so far to fundraise and to get access to funding. So I wouldn't say so easily, but let's say repetitively, although a lot of entrepreneurs that we meet on the African continent and from the diaspora are usually really struggling to get access to funding. And you're telling us how much it's self-confidence and self-esteem is important. So we're really interested and excited to learn more on what were your successes or your key strength to be able to raise that funding, basically.
Okay, so I started by talking about self-confidence. So the thing about self-confidence, and so self-confidence and storytelling, two things, right?
Okay.
Anyone who knows me, anyone who's close to me, anyone who spends some level of time with me knows that I tell stories. I love to talk. I love to,
and your stories are amazing. So that's the good side.
Thank you. But it's very important, right? This is very important because so when you go out to raise money, or when you go out to pitch, you're essentially telling a story. Because you need to be believable, right? Watching or anyone who's listening to you needs to be your body language, your gestures, and essentially, again, self-confidence comes from knowing that you can do something. That's entirely where self-confidence comes from. So this is your experience, the stuff you've gone through in the past, and how you relate or how you identify with the particular problem you're trying to solve, right? So ideally, you want to have been through that problem, had felt the pain. You live it. You're like, I got so mad, and I thought someone needs to build something, and I built it.
Yeah. I see.
So that's the level of self-confidence. Like you have to be again, have this unwavering belief in yourself, in your abilities, and also just the confidence to say, look, no one is doing this, no one is building this. I'm going to do it. I'm going to build it. Storytelling, because what you're telling when you pitch is a story. So you paint a picture in the investor's mind. You paint a picture in your audience's mind. It's essentially a story.
Absolutely.
This is what we did. It's what we did as kids growing up. We listened to stories. It's a core part of human nature, right? Storytelling. Then the last thing. So the first thing was self-confidence. The second thing is storytelling, and the third thing is you need to know a lot of things about something and know everything about one thing. So what I'm trying to say is broaden your knowledge, right? So this means have an idea about the numbers. When you're talking to someone, you don't have to be a finance guy, but you need to have an idea of the numbers, the business case, break even point, cash flow forecasting, and so on and so forth. So another challenge I got, especially from my background, dropping out of college and all of that, was because, okay, I was training to become an engineer, and I sit here and I think, well, if I'm going to start a business, I need to know so much about so many things, and I don't quite get that in my electrical engineering lectures, right? So the third point is really knowledge. Like you have to be a sponge. You have to soak up as much knowledge as you possibly can. So this means from blog articles to research papers to just hands-on about the particular business that you're trying to build, right? then the other thing is, again, just really take your time, and because anyone who's listening to you pitch, or anyone who reads your business proposal or looks at your business model, and that person is an investor, or they're putting an amount of money in, trust me, there's nothing for free. So they're
Yeah,
not going to give you free money for nothing, right?
absolutely,
And
absolutely.
they will catch on to a lie. They will catch on to a half-baked story. They will catch on to poorly done research. So what I'm trying to say is really just do the work.
First off, that's the first step.
The other thing is, so in Europe was the fact that, so I'm in Kenya now. I'm in Africa now. I've been in Kenya for the last year, like more or less permanently, right? So I have two residences. I have, my German residence, and I have Kenya, right?
Yes.
Mainly because my business is registered in Germany, so I kind of keep that, keep my business relations there, clients, customers, everything.
Mm.
But at the same time, I am building my presence in Kenya. So what happens is, as an African living in Europe, trying to raise money for a business in
It's difficult, huh?
the times, you're going to be talking to European investors who have very little knowledge about the African market, right?
Mm.
So So that means you need to kind of identify the right people when it comes to talking to venture capitalists or talking to angel investors. You need to identify the right people who either have an interest in Africa or have knowledge and networks in Africa to enable them to make an investment decision, whether they're going to put money in your project that is not in Europe and is in Africa, right? Another thing I'd like to say, Melanie, and I think it's really brilliant what you're doing with Melanin Capital, is because you guys are bridging the gap, right?
Absolutely, absolutely.
And it's needed. In my time, back in 2015, it was extremely difficult. I went on road shows, Melanie. I was in
Mm.
Portugal, I was in Amsterdam, I was in Belgium, trying to raise money in rooms, in halls, full of, you go for these pitch
Wow.
events, and nothing, right?
So you go on all those places, you pay your ticket, you meet all those people, and then at the end of the day, yeah, there's just nothing for you because they don't understand really the markets, they don't understand the potential, and like, so basically you're like, that's also what we hear from like a lot of the Africans from the diaspora, is that you know the potential, you know what is happening, you can explain it, but you're in the wrong continent kind of to raise that money. But then if you look into it, I mean, the European Space Agency is in Europe. Clearly, it's not in Africa. So then it's difficult to find those investors in Africa. At least that's the feeling that we have. It's changing. Like now, there's more and more angel investors, and with Marin Capital, we work a little bit more with investors that are already in the ground. But back, as you say, in 2015, it was even less investors that also maybe had the possibility to come into your project. So you had to really compose and find those investors that wanted to take that risk. And would you say that you had more access to then grant funding than purely commercial investments, or is it kind of a balance actually? I think your mic is or your earphones are just maybe without charge, because I can't always hear you.
There we go.
Oh, much better.
Fantastic. Okay, good. So that's a brilliant question, Melanie, because what happened was, like I said, it was extremely difficult. So then you're kind of faced with the challenge. Okay, as far as institutional investors go, they want a proof of concept. So they want to see, okay, great idea. Well, who's gonna buy it?
Exactly.
Who's interested in this idea? And you're there thinking, well, I need the money first.
Yeah. I need the money to get the people buying it.
Yeah. So you're like, I need the money to try and get a proof of concept. So my escape hatch was, okay, I'm gonna, because I'm largely in technology, so most of my businesses are technology based, so software and stuff like that. The thing about software is, yes, there's a bit of a need for investment capital to kind of get you to bridge the gap. And my escape hatch was grant funding. So I found a way to to appeal to these grants, to appeal to these organizations. And for me, it was the European Space Agency mainly. I don't know, I wouldn't call it luck quite, right? So maybe there's a bit of luck there.
But there's no such thing as luck, especially when we talk like 6 digits funding and repeatedly. It's also because maybe you were in the niche also, and you found just the right like let's say founders that are interested in that niche. And don't you think?
I think so, yeah. So I mean, back in 2015, I was pitching so I first pitched at my university, right? And they were like, okay, great, but yeah, you don't deserve to win. And then I pitched to the European Space Agency. They're like, great. So I won in Germany, right? I came second in Europe.
Wow.
Right? So my niche, and that's a good point you made there, Melanie. My niche was, okay, look, I am building a concept or a solution for Africa, right? So I'm gonna have no